Are cracked.
Yeah.
And we are live in 3, 2, 1.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Zach, and I am joined by Colton Bradley. You might know me from Deeply Driven Outdoors YouTube channel. We are launching the first ever HF&O podcast. I've been talking about wanting to do a podcast for a while. Asked Colton to join. He was excited to do it. We are bringing you this new HF&O podcast. That's hunting, fishing, and outdoor podcast. So we're super stoked to get this thing kicked off.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this. Zach shot me a text and was like, "Hey, I've been wanting to do this podcast for a while," and it's like, absolutely. How Zach and I know each other, it's pretty funny. Zach was on YouTube before I was, and he's somebody that I had seen that hunted in the area that I'd been around, and I kind of reached out and we talked a few times, and his channel's Deeply Driven Outdoors, like he was saying. Mine's Chasing Iowa Outdoors, and he reached out to me one day, and he actually messaged me that his boat had taken on a little bit of water during the hunt.
Little bit, just a little bit, yeah. We were out, so I had only known Colton through social media, outdoor social media. Followed his YouTube channel and Instagram. We'd talk on Instagram some too.
Yeah, that's probably where we talked the most at, was that.
Yeah, really. I mean, it's a lot better than Facebook.
I'd agree.
But I had not actually met Colton until my boat was halfway underwater. Myself and Andy were out on a hunt way out. I mean, we went up a river and then up another river and walked in to hunt. And we came back. We just pulled the boat up on the bank. We came back, and there was a leak in the transom that, slowly water came in, and then there was a larger leak towards the top of the transom, and then water came in real fast, sunk our boat. We didn't lose it, but it was underwater, and Andy and I were stranded. So I was frantically messaging everybody that I knew with the boat. Colton was one of them. I hadn't even met him. Like, I don't even know why he. I don't know why he.
You messaged me on Facebook though for that part. That was the weird part. Is he jumped from Instagram to Facebook out of nowhere and is like, "Hey, I need a big favor."
I didn't know why. Facebook Messenger is just habitual to me, I suppose, when I use it. But so I messaged Colton, and like I did not expect really anybody at the drop of a hat to be able to come in as far as we were in up the river on a Sunday. To come and rescue us, but he came down and got to experience our situation.
You know what the worst part about that was?
What?
Is I didn't even know where you were at before. I didn't even get a pin until I was already on my way. I didn't know how far back you were.
I wanted to keep it an adventure. I probably wouldn't have come if I had shown.
Probably not. Zach's like, yeah, we're up the river a ways. We got ourselves in a bad situation, and I know Calvin. You said came from what, like
2 hours,
2.5?
Yeah, thereabouts. Yeah, 2 hours, 2:15, something like that.
And I told Zach, I'm like, by the time I grab my boat and then drive to the place my boat's stored at, grab my boat and get out to the river. I mean, I told you like 2.5, 3 hours. You're like, yeah, we need everybody we can, just come. I'm like, that's fine with me.
I was like, if we don't have people come out, we're going to be out here a lot longer than 2.5 to 3 hours.
By the time everything was all said and done, we got everybody there. It was what, like 5 hours, I think.
Yeah, by the time we were back at the ramp, it was like 7. So, but yeah, my boat had sunk. We wound up. Colton came out with his boat, and my girlfriend's nephew, Calvin. If you follow my channel, you probably see him in a couple of videos. He came out with his boat and like a couple of his friends, and he picked up my friend Matt and brought Nicole out. And they, between Colton and then Calvin's boat, we had so many ratchet straps that we had strapped into this tree to heave the boat out, and then they went to the hardware store and bought a come along.
I was gonna say that come along probably saved us.
That did most of the work. And then like 5 of us got in the water and like just heaved the boat. Anyway, do yourself a favor if you have not. Do yourself a favor. Go to the Chasing Iowa Outdoors YouTube and my channel, Deeply Driven Outdoors YouTube. We both have videos of that event. That was when we first officially met in person.
Yep.
We both have videos of that event, and they're both great.
Yeah.
If for nothing else, entertainment value. So
you'll get some laughs out of it, but by the time it was all said, I mean, it was awesome. And the best part is you didn't really lose anything. I mean, you had to obviously you said you flex sealed your transom by the time everything was all said.
The entire transom is now flex seal.
Okay. But your batteries and stuff were submerged for like what, 4 hours?
Something like
4 or 5?
Many hours. I lost track exactly, but many hours. Yeah, they were submerged. They still worked. The trolling motor, which was underwater the whole time, still worked. The batteries, the bilge pump, all of it was completely submerged. They all still worked. There was a little bit of water that got in my outboard. I don't know. It made it run a little bit anemic. It was kind of sputtering and dying, and then would start up, and then it'd sputter and die on the way back. And I've not been in the boat since.
Didn't you say it might be a carburetor or something like that?
Yeah, it might need a carb cleaned.
I'm not a mechanic by any means.
when it comes to mechanics, I just say words that sound good. I mean, it's a carb. Sure.
It's like when people ask me mechanic wise at my work, I'm like, I don't know anything about that. Like, I'll be honest, I don't do my own oil. I don't do any of that stuff. Like, I cannot for the life of me do that. I didn't grow up doing it, you know, and there's I wish I did. I wish I knew how to do that part. But like, if I had something where it happened out in the marsh, like I'd be either swimming, which we've done that before. We've had times before where we've had to get out and like pretty much swim to get back and all that. I mean, there's a ton of fun stories, and we're really looking forward to sharing those. Like, that's one of the things we're really excited about this podcast is not only are we going to bring on hopefully some people. We were kind of talking about this, you know, as we were going through and talking about what we want to do with this podcast is we want to bring people that are very knowledgeable and professional in the wildlife side, because that's something we're both definitely very passionate about. Us as being on social media, I know I've gotten quite a few questions, and I'd assume you've got a bigger platform than I do, Zach. We get a lot of questions as to, like, you know, what we think about habitat, things like that. But at the end of the day, we're still just amateurs. And Zach was bringing up the point of bringing on, you know, different people that do conservation, things like that. So if any of you listening have somebody that would be great to have on the podcast and be willing to come and talk with us, feel free to reach out to us on social media. I think that's probably one of the big things that we start gaining traction and stuff with this, that we're excited and we want to talk with people and share what we talk about with all of you guys, because what we learn and find out from that, it can teach somebody a lot. And we're the people that are going to take this hunting and outdoors and conservation. We're the people that are going to take that forward in the years. And that's one of the things I really like about the social media platform of things is this can really be used as a tool to help what we do and share that with people for years to come. So, yeah, indeed. And kind of like what you're saying, I mean, I want to get what to look for in future podcasts, right? So this is the first one. Hopefully there'll be a lot more to come. Yeah. I would like to get people that are either professionals in their craft with hunting and fishing, even going as far as biologists. Like, if I had an opportunity to sit down with a biologist, namely a fisheries biologist, I'd have so many questions, and I think that would be interesting to share with everybody in an audience. You know, if there's conservation organizations too, they sit down with them, kind of see what's going on with conservation, because ultimately conservation plays into your hunting and your fishing, right? Absolutely. If you don't have habitat conserved, you're not hunting anything. If you don't have animals conserved, you're not hunting anything. Mm-hmm. You know, if your water quality is terrible, you don't have fishing anywhere, right? So I'd agree. It'd be interesting to sit down with some of those people that are like professionals in what they're in their craft, and talk with us. Because everyone, there's always stupid arguments on social media about like what these people, you go and pick a Facebook group, right, or whatever, or any social media. We won't tag any of those. No, we will not. But there's always people that act like they know something. Well, like, let's bring in the people that do know the things. There are a lot of people though that do know a lot of stuff on there. Like, and it's people that you'll see time and time again try and correct people for the better. And that I think is cool. I mean, you'll have all those social media, and like even from us, we'll get people that I know I've had people comment on my videos of, oh, you shouldn't be doing this and that. Okay. But at the end of the day, if those people are there and they're trying to help people like understand, like, for example, the September goose season, which we're from Iowa, by the way. We mentioned, my channel. Anyway, your channel name has Iowa. It does have Iowa. We are from Iowa. We are from Iowa. Central Iowa. And we travel quite a bit. I think, I guess to go off of that, I traveled the most this last year that I have out of any other year for waterfowl hunting. I think you said you traveled quite a bit too, didn't you? Or a little bit?
Yeah, only within state, but it was still no, that's not even true. I was going to say it was the furthest I've ever traveled for hunting, but that's not true. But I did travel a little ways. Yeah. Where did you go to?
Well, I did a lot in Northeast Iowa. I got a couple buddies up there that I had the privilege of asking me to come up, and I actually brought a couple people too. Colton Miller is the guy's name. He does a really good job. He absolutely is phenomenal with goose hunting. I mean, those guys, they stacked up a ton of birds, and that's one thing I didn't really realize is how many birds are actually in Northeast Iowa for goose hunting. It was pretty cool to see how many birds. I mean, when we were there, we didn't have the greatest hunts. I mean, that's hunting. But, the next day he'd send me a picture of like a 4 or 5 man limit. It's like, that's awesome. Like, you guys are getting after it. So that was one of the places. And then I went Southern Iowa a little bit, and I didn't do any Northwest this year. I've done Northwest Iowa in the past, which is actually really good.
What's up there?
There's like, if you go around, somebody's going to get mad from this, but like Okoboji area. If you go,
it rhymes with Schmoka-Schmoji.
Yeah, Schmoka-Schmoji. I'm gonna be so bad at this through this podcast. I need to fix that part. But
nobody will listen to this episode.
That's right. This is just a test. We're just talking for a test run. So, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. And next year, I guess I've got some pretty cool trips. At least I think they're gonna be pretty cool trips planned. My big one is in October. I'm gonna be going to North Dakota for a week. So we're going to have a group of 4 go up early in the week, and then we're going to have 2 people join us down the road they're going to come in Thursday night late.
Right.
And I think it's like a 8 to 12 hour drive, depending on where we're going to stay at, to where we're going to hunt. So it should be pretty cool. I'm really excited to film some of that stuff because that's an area I've never been to. We're going to be freelancing it. We've got some people that we've already got permission on, so that's pretty cool.
Are you doing private ground stuff?
Well, up in North Dakota, it's different. So they have public like waterfowl production areas.
Okay.
From what I've been researching and stuff, but then North Dakota, the way that they operate, unlike Iowa here, where if you have posted property, or if you have public and private, if you're on private, you have to go ask the landowner. From regulations and stuff I've been reading up there, if it's not posted, you can actually go and hunt that.
I think I've heard about that. Yeah. I've heard there's some states that do that.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that program's called, and I don't know. That's kind of what I've been reading on that. But to me, if I'm a landowner, I'm going to want people to ask. And plus, then it saves us from getting up there and being like, okay, well, we thought we could hunt this spot and we can't. I don't want to make any landowners mad. Obviously, At the end of the day, if they have land and they're willing to let people hunt it, if we can go. And the nice part too is I'm hoping that he will send us some pictures and stuff. And he even said when the guy called up and talked to him, he's like, I got a couple other people I think you can get in on their land and hunt with. I'm like, cool. So we've got like 5 to 10 spots that we have from the get-go. Obviously, people say you'll put on like 1,000 miles while you're up there scouting. Right. But yeah, it's kind of a cool thing that we'll have going on. I guess do you have any trips planned at all in particular? I know we've talked about a couple.
Yeah. I would love to go to the Dakotas, by the way. I'm pretty jealous of Dakota waterfowl hunting.
Maybe 2021 we do a collaborative trip.
Let's do it. You heard it here first. He offered to, on his dime, you heard it.
Oh, I didn't say that part.
Well, I heard it, so.
All right, if you supply beer.
Well, I guess I could do that.
That'd be a cheap trip for you.
That would be a very inexpensive trip.
So,
so this year, 2020, I'm gonna go somewhere that I've always wanted to go, and it's in Iowa. I've never been. I've actually never been to the northeast part of the state, other than going to and from Wisconsin via the fastest route. Right, not really spending any time there. At least Nicole and me and her nephew Calvin, again, if you see my videos, you've probably seen him, and a few of them are going to go do a turkey trip to Northeast Iowa. We're doing a turkey and trout trip. It's going to be like 5 days, be like a Wednesday through a Sunday. We're going to go turkey hunting in the spring. It's a unique area of Iowa, and it actually, like if you're from Iowa, or if you're not, here's the information. We are mainly an agricultural state. A lot of our rivers are deep, slow moving, and muddy. Water quality, not the best. Northeast corner of the state is very topographically, it's different. It's actually called the driftless area of Iowa. Whatever it was, 10,000, 11,000 years ago, something like that.
Midwest or whatever.
Yeah. Midwest used to be covered in glaciers.
Yep.
But the glaciers missed like northeast Iowa, southeast Minnesota, southwest Wisconsin, and northwest Illinois. So it's hilly. The terrain is completely different. There's cold, clear running trout streams.
Isn't it really rocky and stuff up there too?
Yeah, it's supposed to be. I've never been. It's supposed to be.
I've never been up. I mean, I've been up there snowboarding, but that's it.
It's supposed to be like super beautiful. And hopefully we do some kayaking, because I've seen some pictures from kayak that were taken by kayakers up there on some of the rivers. Super cool area, like very different from what I'm used to. It has good record book, turkeys according to the NWTF layer on Onyx maps. We'll see if that's right or not.
Hold that true.
Yeah, use your tools, right?
Yeah, I use Onyx.
There you go. I love it. Onyx is a lifesaver.
Yeah.
I've never caught a trout before. So one of my goals up there, I'm going to try and catch a trout. I've never shot a turkey. I'm going to try and shoot a turkey. I want to do some hiking, and we're going to do tent camping it might wind up being 6 nights and then 5 days. I don't know.
That'd be pretty cool.
Something like that. Yeah. We'll be gone for a little while. And then Colton and I are thinking about doing turkey camp, at least for a night.
Yeah. We were hoping to do a couple days.
That'd be nice.
But my schedule with work, it's hard. I get 1 weekend off a month, and then unfortunate part is I have a wedding during the first and second and part of third seasons, and then I have my fiance's graduation from nursing school, and it's 2 graduate. It can't just be one. So like if it was just one, I could go to it like Sunday afternoon, because they have one on Sunday and they have one on Saturday. But unfortunately, I can't miss that. That's a one I can hunt. We can hunt down the road, but yeah, we'll do one night. We've got a property in Southwest Iowa. I didn't remember you'd never shot a turkey.
Never shot a turkey. Not for lack of trying.
How many years have you hunted them?
Do I have to say?
Yeah, I would like to hear it.
I'm not really sure, because I don't hunt turkey every year.
Okay.
The first time I ever went, I was probably 14 or 15.
Okay.
I'm trying to think if I'd ever hunted before then.
So like 30 years? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my goodness, that was rude. So yeah, I was probably 14 or 15. It was not 30 years ago, for the record. Did not shoot a turkey then, and then I don't know. It's spotty. Like I said, I don't hunt turkeys every year. I would always tell you that it's my least favorite kind of hunting that I do, which
I disagree.
Yeah, I don't know.
But if you haven't been successful for a few years, for a decent amount of time, I won't say a long time, because obviously we aren't going to put that number on it. But I don't know. That's one thing that I've really grown to do, because like you're really good on the fishing side. For me, I've stuck with more hunting side. I do some bow fishing. I find that to be a blast.
We got to go bow fishing together.
I'd be down.
Justin just got me into bow fishing a couple years ago. It's so fun.
That was like your Garmageddon video, wasn't it? That he was in
that wasn't the first time that we did it, but
okay.
That was definitely the best time I'd ever even seen. Like, it was insane.
I've never night bow fished. I've always wanted to.
It was crazy. Justin's he's a friend of mine. If you watched YouTube, you might know him, but he's got the sickest bow fishing rig. He's got a fan on the back of it, and he's got the shooting deck on the bow that you can hold like 4 people, and the lights and the whole 9 yards. He's been nice enough to take me out a few times on that boat, and the last time we were on it, like we just shot gar until our arms were tired. Like when we left, we could have just continued shooting gar like that.
That's
but
nuts.
We were just, okay, well, I guess we're going to be done now. It's 3 a.m, so we're done.
But yeah, we do. We need to try to get you on a turkey this year.
I would love to shoot a turkey. And when I say it's my least favorite kind of hunting, I don't mean that like I hate it. Like I enjoy. There's certain things about turkey hunting that I enjoy that aren't there with other kinds of hunting.
Yeah.
Like you're breaking the cabin fever. So it's in the spring.
Yep.
You've been cooped up like March and February, and you're just like, oh my God, when is this going to be done? You get to go out and you're walking around and you're seeing spring be spring. The world come back alive again. There's things about that I like. And if I were to shoot a turkey, the problem is I'm not only not shot a turkey. To tell you the truth, I've not even been close enough to a male turkey while hunting to shoot it. Like it's not like I've never had one like strut in and like work its way in.
Oh man,
I've physically seen a couple while turkey hunting.
Yeah,
and that's it. So
to me, there's nothing cooler. Like, I mean, when you're duck hunting and stuff, which is what I primarily do. I know that's kind of what you do a lot of too for your hunting side, and you do a lot of things. But besides a group of mallards coming in the decoys, if you have a turkey in full strut coming into a decoy, I had the opportunities last year. So I went turkeying for the first time 3 years ago. It was my uncle took me out, and he's the one that got me into kind of more than just waterfowl hunting. But he took me out, and the first day that we went out, it was an afternoon hunt. We were just kind of scouting and seeing where everything was. And then the next morning we went out, and we had set up on a spot that I had scouted, and there had been birds there, and somebody had hunted our property. It was not a good deal. I found a ground blind, and I was not very happy
Like
about that.
Without permission on the property?
Well, they had permission from somebody that they shouldn't have. That's something we definitely addressed. I was a little livid when I went down and saw that, but
there we go. Here comes the
we're
drama.
not gonna start that part.
No, let's start that.
No, I just make sure you're on the correct spot. The guy that had given permission just didn't have permission to give out. Anyways, but so the first time we went out, we were set up on the bottom of this hill, and for turkey hunting, I told you about this. Never set up at the bottom of a hill when you're turkey hunting. I learned this out after the fact. I mean, I'd heard about it, but sometimes like the spot that it is kind of, there's like a valley, and then in the bottom's this little creek bed, and so they do roost down there. But they were gobbling all the way up to the fence line on our property, and there's this big hill. And so they kind of stopped gobbling, and I was like, okay, what's going on? My uncle's like, all right, it's time to move. I'm like, okay. So we kind of walked up this little draw, and all of a sudden I just hear stuff like thump, 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 thump. And I'm like, that's weird. Like, I've never heard anything like that. Well, I told my uncle, he hadn't heard it yet. And he's like, all right, get ready. So he had this little Jake fan, and we crawled up over this thing, and I was way back. I mean, I didn't know what was going on. And he kind of like, get up here. And so we snuck up over this thing, and there's these turkeys fighting, and they got their necks. Yeah, they were kicking. They had their necks crawled around each other like they were wrapped up.
That's crazy.
It was like you take those little flexible, I don't even know what they are, but you like wrap those around each other. That's what they were doing. It was nuts. And then we actually doubled up. And then this last year, we had the opportunity. I went out on a solo hunt during second season, I think it was, and within 30 minutes I tagged out. Full strut. Tom came in perfectly. It was amazing. And that thing's sitting there, and you can hear it. They talk about like beating and drumming. Mm-hmm. It's just sitting there, and you can just hear it, and you can feel it. They call them thunder chickens. Have you had them close enough where you can feel the vibrations in the air?
No, not even remotely close.
So if anything, what Zach and I are going to accomplish this year, if he does not do it on his trip, or depending on when we line up our little weekend adventure, I'll at least put Zach underneath a roost so that he can feel that turkey gobble. I can promise you that. I'll put that on the table. I can promise you that.
That'd be exciting.
So
I enjoy turkey hunting. I look forward to turkey hunting. When I say it's my least favorite kind of hunting, I think, well, least favorite that I actually do. I mean, I've done pheasant hunting before, which is cool if you know someone with a dog, but I don't right now that has a good bird dog. So, whatever. I've done squirrel hunting, but that's just passive to me, really. Yeah. But you compare turkey hunting to waterfowl, which to me, like when you've got mallards working in and you know that they've just committed, like they've just bought what you're selling, it's crazy.
I didn't get that feeling this year.
You didn't?
No, I didn't shoot a single mallard.
I am terrible at waterfowl hunting, and I shot 5.
You know what? Don't rub that in my face.
It's too late. But then I guess when it comes out of deer hunting, so I do deer hunting a lot too. I do muzzleloader deer hunting. And sometimes deer, I mean, it'd be like turkey hunting too. I've had a lot of uneventful turkey hunts. Deer hunting can be uneventful when you're sitting there not, waiting on something. But my deer hunt this year, when I actually shot the one that I shot in late Muzz, for how little of a deer that was, my heart was just beating out of my chest. Like, it was insane. And the reason that it happened, which I didn't have the camera running for this hunt, I left it in the truck, and I'll never forgive myself.
That's always when you shoot something.
It's
your best hunts are when you leave the camera.
I did not film. There was one hunt I did not film last year for duck season, and we just slaughtered them. It was like a multi-species. Like, we had mallards coming in at 15 yards.
I remember you talking about that.
We were passing on teal because there was mallards and pintail work. It was ridiculous.
That'd be
One time I did not bring the camera out. It happened with deer hunting. So we were hunting. I was hunting an opening to a field. I had family ground. Hunting the opening to a field, like where you might drive like your car or your truck, so not your car. Why drive a car in the field? You wouldn't drive it out, but you could.
You get in there a little ways.
You can get into a lot of places. Not getting out.
Yeah.
You might drive a truck or your farm implements or whatever through. We had a fresh snow that morning, and I said to Andy, okay, let's go scout. Let's go look at these places where we know that deer will sometimes frequent, and let's see what they've been using like right now. Mm-hmm. So we checked that one. That one had that entrance that I was sitting up on, had the most activity, had the most tracks, quite a few. Sat up on it for the evening, missed one, and then there was a group of, so across the gravel road from this field is timber, which is my uncle's ground. And we know, they'll stack up in that timber, and they'll get in like that little timber ditch. And then they'll kind of stack up there right before they cross the road. They'll kind of, piddle around there in the ditch and just do deer things before they come out in the open and cross the road and go in the field. We knew they kind of stacked up there. So I sat up by that opening, and then Andy was up on the top of the hill. I see, I look over out of the corner of my eye. I see like these 4 deer that are right there. Like, oh my goodness, they're going to come. They started coming across the road. I'm sitting at the fence line, just on the other side of the ditch. They come into the ditch by where I was sitting at, and then they, instead of going into the opening, where the opening of the field was 75 yards away from me. Instead of going into that, they walked towards me. I had a yearling that was like 10 yards from me, and I'm like, I can't move a muscle right now, and like my heart's just going crazy. I've got more deer. More deer are stacking up across the road. I've got 4 in the road. Then they decide to change course, and then they kind of go back and then go through the field opening, and then I just shot the first one that came through and filled my antlerless tag, got venison in the freezer. But that was insane, and I didn't get any of it on video until the aftermath. So
your heart was racing though.
I think that's over. Like my deer that I shot was so small. Like my dog is bigger than that thing. But it was the event of what happened. And that's something that I just love about hunting. Like when it comes down to deer hunting, especially, like I'm not one of those guys that's going to sit there and wait for, I've got to have that 12-point buck. I'm just like, it's venison in the freezer. I love to eat venison. I like the act of hunting deer.
Yep.
I actually have fun butchering them ever since I learned to do that
really?
a couple years ago. Yeah. Never knew how to do it before. I kind of it's like that complete the field, the table process.
I think I found a lot of that in like turkey hunting too, especially like the deer hunting. I've butchered like 1 or 2 deer, I think, by myself, but my uncles helped me out a ton with that process because I just didn't grow up doing that. But that's one of the things I do like about hunting is take it from the field. You can clean it and you can have it on your table at night.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But your heart was racing though during that whole thing with that doe 10 yards away from you.
It was crazy. Well, and the thing is, I couldn't even shoot that like the way that where the fence was. If I were to move, she would be just gone.
Yeah.
So I couldn't even move to shoot that deer. I just had to stop still. And
your heart just going bump, bump, bump.
And
I'm
just like, they're not going to jump this fence. Deer are lazy. They take the path of least resistance.
I'd agree.
And they're going to go around, and they're going to go in through where there's an opening into this field. That's what they did. I sat still, and I mean, she kind of knew, like, I don't know, something's not quite right. But like, I had forgotten the scent. That's what was crazy. We were right for the wind, but I forgot the scent spray at home. And like, so we had like no scent control.
The wind does more than any of that, though.
Yeah, I would agree. Especially that would be a good testament. I would agree.
Yeah, and I don't know. I've done some bow hunting in the past. I haven't done a lot of it, but I've had deer directly downwind to me, and I've done scent control and I've done non-scent control. I mean, yeah, it can help, obviously, but playing the wind's by far the biggest thing that you can do. As long as the wind's in your favor, you can go out there and do whatever most of the time, right, and at least harvest something. So
yeah, I mean, I've shot deer drinking coffee and what things that are super strong scented, whatever. Yep.
Bet you shot more ducks drinking coffee than you have deer, though. Or is it close?
That's probably true. No. I mean, it'd be sad if it was close.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of deer, or at least, or a very little ducks. Either way.
That's the one. I don't shoot that many ducks. I just love the duck hunt. I don't shoot that many ducks. But this last season gone, the 2019 into 2020. Well, no, our duck season doesn't go into 2020. The waterfowl season as a whole is in 2020.
Yeah,
we got goose, but Was actually one of my better waterfowl seasons, and I didn't even shoot that many ducks. Like really, our teal season was the only time I'd ever been skunked throughout the entirety of teal season. That was terrible. That didn't help anything.
I didn't see. We're gonna have to restart this here real quick. There we go. Entirety of teal season. I had 30-minute max on that. I didn't see at first.
Why?
I don't know. We might have to change that.
We should definitely change that.
Yeah, we'll probably have to change that. All right, we'll continue.
Okay.
This is a trial run, remember?
Yeah, this is if you have to sit there and watch our technical difficulties, well, guess what? Too bad.
We're doing pretty good otherwise.
We are. They will get better. We've never done a podcast before, so first podcast, but our technical difficulties will smooth out here next time.
We'll figure it out next time.
Yeah. Anyway, back to duck hunting though. My teal season was maybe the worst I've ever had for teal season since they introduced teal season in Iowa. Was it 4 or 5 years ago?
I think it's 4.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's 4.
Yeah, it was like 4 years ago. They introduced teal season in Iowa. Done it every year. This was definitely the worst because I shot 0 teal. At least it's worse for numbers. I mean, the hunts were okay, but after that, I mean, we really got on wood ducks this year, which is good because I wanted to get on wood ducks. I love wood ducks; one of my favorite ducks. We wanted to get on wood ducks for years, and just really get like that, that small water. This is a backwater wood duck shoot late season, and we got 2 of them this year. It was a good time. Did you get on any? Your teal season was much better.
I had a good teal season.
Your teal season was a lot better.
But I also scouted that a ton because it worked out good because the season started on a Sunday for teal season this year, which typically is a Saturday. Typically by the second day, the teal are all shot out. Mm-hmm. But we camped out overnight in the marsh, 2 of us, Blake and I, in layout blinds, and it got cold that night. It was like 48 degrees. I think it got down to.
Which night did you camp out? Saturday into Sunday.
Saturday into Sunday.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, we were out there Saturday at I'm not gonna tell what time, but it was early. No, I'm not gonna do that. But we shot 15 opening day, and we got a sweet video of it actually. So if you want to check out an awesome teal hunt, check out my channel, Chasing Iowa Outdoors.
I feel like there's really a lot of context here to pick up on, which can be resolved by going to both of our channels,
mm-hmm.
Deeply Driven Outdoors and Chasing Iowa Outdoors, and then you'll be in on all the fun. But if you're not, it's okay for now. We'll forgive you.
Teal are little birds. If you don't know what teal are, we'll paint you a visual picture. They're little birds. They typically don't have any plumage on them yet, so they're brown and they're fast, really fast. They make you go through a lot of shells in a very small amount of time.
They do, which I kind of would go through a lot of shells anyway. Not for I feel like for a guy that. I'm very conservative with my shot selection.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'll never screw in my full choke because if they're 40 yards or more out, I'm not pulling the trigger. Anyway, I miss a lot. I used to try and cover that up. I'm man.
You can't.
I miss a lot and it's not okay. And I still I don't know why I like duck hunting so much sometimes. I'm so bad at it, but it's so fun.
It's probably I think it's the social aspect for me.
It's definitely the social aspect. And when it all does come together, because that's what it is. You have the hunts where it will all come together and then you're just amped.
Yeah. Because it's not 9 times out of 10, it's not just showing up and you're getting a banger hunt.
Mm.
You're taking the time. You're going out scouting. Scouting can take you 2, 3, 4, 5 days at times to get on a really good one. And all that's building up, you're texting with your buddies, hey, this is going to be awesome. That was the thing I was most excited about our teal season, our teal start. It's okay, my goal is 10 ducks. And I knew there were a ton of birds in this area and we probably should have shot more, but we shot absolutely horrendous. But, having all that line up, at the end of it, you're sitting in the parking lot and it's all smiles and you're all laughing. Even though I was exhausted because the spot we hunted, it was all mud. And my dog he's 13 this year, Max, and that dog did not want to get up to eat. He wouldn't get up to go outside. He wouldn't do anything that night. It was hilarious. So to me, it's the journey of hunting. I mean, at the end of the day, you can post as many pictures and whatever piles as you want. That's not what it's about. It's about getting out in the field, spending time with your buddies, enjoying the journey, and respecting the game that we're so fortunate to shoot and harvest. So
yeah, I'd agree with that. Like I see some of these people. I don't know why I spend too much time on social media sometimes.
It's easy.
Like, I need to. It is easy. I need to fix it because all it does is piss me off. Like you'll see these guys in the forums, and they're just like, they'll be ripping on someone for shooting hens, or they'll be we'll shot a merganser. Just like, shut up, you know what I mean? Because really, what it's about is like what you said.
Mm-hmm.
It's about going out there and you're scouting and you're putting a plan together. And then the plan comes together, or maybe it doesn't, but you learn from it.
Exactly.
You're going out with your buddies, or you're doing blind breakfast, and you're hanging out and talking about the hunts, and making memories. Like that's what really matters. Like, if you hunt just to shoot like a fistful of green, like I don't know.
I mean, yeah, that's fun, and that's at times that happens, but I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't want to make it sound like I'm a bird watcher. Don't get me wrong. Every time I go out, I go out with the intent, like I would like to shoot a limit today.
Yeah.
But to be like, I can never be one of those people that's just angry that I didn't limit, or really upset by that kind of a thing, or especially go on like social media and then feel the need to deride somebody else for how they legally hunted. Like I couldn't.
Yeah, like
I don't
like I'm all right with shooting 3 birds, but I'm like as a group. I mean, if I get breakfast and I get a few ducks and I get spend the sunrise out in the outdoors, I'm content.
Yeah.
Like I'm perfectly happy with that.
I mean, you and I had hunts. So after Colton rescued me, we did some hunting together, which ultimately where we became buddies.
Yeah.
We were friends on Instagram and what have you, but met him in person and we became buddies, and we did a few hunts towards the end of the season, which late season hunting I always feel like is tough. Like depending where you go, the guys that hunt fields tend to have better luck. I understand. I don't hunt fields much, so I sit there and just struggle late season. We did a couple of late season hunts, and we didn't really shoot. I mean, there was that one good pass of teal.
And you guys missed on a couple other ones, but
yeah, I mean,
but yeah, that pass of teal was sweet. Yeah, remember you had
I missed all of it.
We had a group of mergansers come in, and then we had we had a group of mergansers, and we had a group of a pair of golden eyes come over, and then we had that group of teal made it worth it.
Yeah, that group that was a very nice pass of teal. But really, between we really hunt together twice. 2 or 3 times?
Yeah, we only hunted together twice.
2 or 3 times. Yeah, twice.
Because that when you sunk your boat, was that late October?
No, it was November, because my birthday is November 4th, and I sunk it on November 3rd. And that was my birthday.
Yeah, so we only had like a couple weeks before everything was kind of freezing up and we couldn't duck hunt anymore.
Yeah.
So.
And we had a rough cold snap right in the middle of November.
It completely froze the lake that I hunt.
Yeah, I thought we were done. Like I thought our season was done a month early, but then we got this crazy 60-degree warm up that went and opened everything back up. So that was weird. But the hunts we did together were not by any means, they weren't bangers. I mean, even the one that the good pass of teal was on, there was 5 guys on that.
Yeah, we did have 5.
Walked away with 4 ducks. I mean, if you're just in it for the numbers, you would frown upon that. But I didn't have a bad time. I had a good time. I enjoyed it.
The 2 decoys you lost across the lake.
Oh.
Zach's bank account had a little bit of a bad time that day.
That's true. Yep. I lost about $30 worth of decoys.
I'm sure they're still out there. We could probably go find them now.
Good. They're probably frozen in ice. It might be easy to get.
They probably are. They're right on shore. Bring a chainsaw and we'll be good to go.
Got them, yeah. I had decoys that floated off, and they were my good ones. They were my favorite decoys, and they floated off across a pretty large body of water, never to be seen again by me.
Yeah, I don't think you'll ever find those.
I'm afraid not. Which really is just an excuse to buy more decoys, which I want to do anyway, because I have a problem with buying too much gear.
Do you have anything for gear this upcoming season that you're really looking forward to buy?
Gear. I mean, some of it's just YouTube gear, which who cares about that?
Yeah,
I want to get like a real GoPro. Other than that, for hunting gear. Oh boy, I'm gonna better let you take that one.
I guess one of the things I got for Christmas was one of the Higdon pulsators. So it's a little duck butt that shoots water out of it. It's a little 12-volt lithium-ion motorized battery, just to simulate like ripples and stuff. And the other thing that I think I'm going to add is going to be an A-frame. Is one of the things that I've kind of wanted to add in.
I've got pointer for you on the A-frame when you're done.
Do it yourself one,
Not exactly.
or use spruce trees.
It's the best now. Okay, well, complete your list of things that you wanted to buy.
Well, there's a lot of things.
Well, okay,
Can I win the lottery and go buy me
keep
some more stuff?
if you can absolutely win the lottery.
we'll get new duck boats and
Please do.
But no, I think between the A-frame, I also think one of the other things I want to add is kind of a jerk cord. Is I've been doing a lot of research on that. And I think that'd be one big thing to help improve on the waterfowl side for sure.
So, I would concur with all of that. Actually, I'm going to there's spreaders. There's the motion duck spreader, which people have been talking about. Okay, so there's two different ones. There's one that is like a 4-duck spreader,
and there's like a 6
and
or
there's
7.
like a 7-duck spreader. The 7-duck spreader is $100, which is crazy. I got a 4-duck spreader for Christmas 2 or 3 years ago, and I still haven't used it. I'm just going to make a point to use that.
Do you want to donate it if you don't want to use it?
No, I want to use it.
Okay.
We need motion on the water.
Just offering.
We need motion on the water so bad. But then Mojo, for as much as I'm iffy on that, for some of the stuff they make, I'm iffy on Mojo, but they do make a jerka spreader, and it's like $40, $45, and that will pull a dozen decoys. And it's not just like in a line either. Your traditional, your conventional jerk cord, if you're familiar, right, it goes in a line. Or if you're not familiar, you've got an anchor in the water. Attached to that is a line that goes up, and it runs clips to 4 decoys that will you pull on it from the blind. There's another line that goes from the decoys to you in the blind. You pull on that, and it pulls the decoys in a line. The jerka spreader, I think it has them going at least 2 different directions and moves a dozen decoys, which is moving a lot of water. That's what I'm mainly concerned about with motion with a spreader is it's moving the water, right? Rather than just the individual ducks. But it does move a dozen individual ducks.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about going that route instead of the motion ducks route and try that out. My key on the A-frame before I forget, I recently bought, it was during deer season, I bought this on Amazon. I'm an Amazon warrior when it comes to hunting gear, by the way. I love deals, and I'm really thrifty to a fault. But this actually wound up being all right. There was a blind that I'd had my eye on since turkey season because I wasn't very happy with my blind that I was using for turkey season. I was using a Primos stakeout. No, not stakeout. Ground swat. Primos ground swat blind. Sorry. Yeah. It's like kind of a fabric with the telescope.
It's got a couple poles, yep.
It's kind of nice, but we got busted pretty hardcore from pretty far away while using that. And I don't know. I mean, we could have sat more still, sure, but come on,
I was going to say you aren't supposed to move.
I'm going to blame Andy for that.
Turkeys have got some of the best eyesight out there.
We've been busted by turkeys from shockingly far distances.
Oh,
it's
dude,
just
that's
like
amazing.
Anyway, so I'm going to try and stay on topic here a little bit.
I was thirsty. Sorry.
No worries. Okay, so during turkey season, I wanted a new blind.
Yeah,
but I'm like, I don't want to get one of those big full tent things. The
pop-up blinds.
It makes a ton of noise and it's gaudy, and then you want to break it down. It takes a little while. It takes a little while. I want something that's run and gun, lightweight, high speed. I found one on Amazon. It's kind of like a pop-up blind, but it's 3 panels. So imagine, if you can't envision it, that your normal blind is 5, right? Because you've got 4 sides plus the roof. This is 3, and you can kind of move those panels around. I mean, they're attached to each other, but you can kind of move them around if you want it like an L shape or a straight line or whatever. So I bought that because it's quick to set up, and it's effective, light. It comes in a carry bag. It's called like AUS Camo Tech, AUS Camo Tech. Everything on Amazon's got these wild, crazy names. I did not know that it comes with vegetation straps.
Oh, that'd be sweet.
The thing is like 7 pounds and it's like $75. A-frames are like $300, $500, $600, depending on how much you want to spend. I'm going to get one more of these $75 blinds. I'm going to have myself an A-frame. It's got the veg straps on it. I can carry it in anywhere on public land to like 7 pounds. It comes in a bag with a shoulder strap. You can carry that into anywhere for $150, like half the price of the next cheapest A-frame.
I might have to look at that.
Yeah. And then you can turn around and use that for deer season. You can turn around and use it for turkeys. I did find though that you sitting in your turkey chair with it, it's too tall, which is unfortunate.
Okay, so it's not very. It's a very low profile thing then.
Yeah, it's high. Well, it's a little higher. So when I
Okay.
sit in my turkey chair, I can't see. It's too. I can't see out of the
Okay,
floor.
gotcha. I have my directions mixed up.
But if I were to have like some kind of just a regular chair, or just a stool or something a little bit higher, it'd be just fine.
Yeah.
Which would be great for ducks. I thought of it when I was deer hunting. I'm like, man, I guess I'm kind of a blind to be sitting in right now. But, yeah. But for purchases, I'm just gonna copycat Colton because I'm gonna get something from Motion on the water, which both the Higdon I've looked at and spreaders,
Some jerk cords, motion spreaders, all that.
Jerk cord, yeah. That's the word I was looking for.
I think that's a big one.
Because we don't have any. We've got Spinning Wing, but I mean,
that only does so much.
It only does so much, and birds have seen it, which I prefer having them than not. It adds you some visibility, especially if you're hunting in vegetation.
Yeah.
But there's not. I mean, that motion on the water is killer. I mean, it's crazy if you watch ducks from 500 yards away, 600 yards away. What do you see? You see the flashing white wings, and you see the splashing in the water. So I figure the more splashing, the more flashing you can get. That's
exactly what I've listened to and heard people say. The other big thing, I guess, to increase, we're kind of going to the waterfowl side because that's where a lot. I think that's where we spend most of our time during the fall. Is I think I'm gonna try and use more of just like the natural cover. I hunt out of a boat a lot, and I know you have a boat blind on your boat, but
my boat sinks.
So, I don't sit in Zach's boat. We're supposed to go fishing in it. We'll see how that goes.
It'll happen. My boat won't sink again. Like, it'll be fine, I bet.
Stay tuned for Deeply Sunken Outdoors episode 2.
Wear a life jacket.
But that's how I grew up. I grew up hunting out of boats. I started in a little fiberglass boat, and then we got a low roughneck boat with a Mercury motor on it, and now we have a mud motor. And I think one of the things, I mean, it can be really good, but you have to have the correct cover for it. And the more I listen, the more I read, the more I want to get away from that kind of stuff. A lot of people use their boats anymore for just transportation.
Right.
And then they use natural cover and they get rid of the shapes. Because that's one of the things with the boats. Bless you.
Oh, excuse me. That was my silent sneeze. Infamous silent sneeze.
But that's one of the things with the boats is they can pick up those shapes really easily. And if you use like an A-frame, the thing that I've heard and read is that you use like spruce trees because that can break up the shapes. You don't want squared off. You don't want, and in the boats, I mean, I have a video on our boat setup too, but it can get picked out pretty easily. So
I was out scouting around this year during season, and there was guys out hunting, and I remember going over this bridge over a hunting area, and I was just like, immediately, as soon as I went starting over the bridge, I said, "Oh, there's the duck boat." It's like, if I can pick it out, ducks who have been shot at by that shape, and their camouflage is fine. They match to the surrounding cover.
Yep.
It's just that boxy shape. It's the hard edges that's just killer.
That keys it off for sure.
Eventually, birds get educated to it, especially late in the year. Like, if I was able to pick that up just immediately, I mean, if birds have been getting shot at by something that looks like that shape, then you might struggle getting them to finish from a hard side blind. I could be wrong. I might just be saying words.
There's guys that shoot a ton of birds out of them. And
right.
I haven't had the best. And that could be just me and my scouting. But honestly, I can say this last year, I didn't have the greatest year by any means. I've shot way more ducks in the past. I think I was calculating it up earlier today. It was like our group shot over 40 ducks and right around 40 geese is all that it was. But
nice.
We used to shoot, when I was in high school, we'd shoot 80 to 120 ducks a year.
I've never even sniffed to that number.
But
nothing. But I am envious too of the goose numbers.
Yeah.
Well, and the duck numbers really. But
I've been fortunate. The goose side, I will say, I've made a lot of really good connections with my schedule for work. I don't get a way to scout like I'd really like to. So my buddy Drew, and then like I said, my other buddy Colton, I've been fortunate enough to have them bring me out on some hunts. So maybe I'll see if I can sneak you out on one this next year. And
I would love to.
So I know September, Colton's talked about, like I said, they get on them early on silage fields.
They talk about the special goose, the metro
goose? Well,
even
they start like mid-September up in northeast Iowa.
Okay.
Where he's at. And I don't know, they shot like 80 geese by the end of September.
That might be awesome. The only appeal to me for goose hunting before used to be that like they're big, right? You know, and they're kind of fun to shoot. I had a hard time eating them. I'm a big believer in eat everything you kill, but it's like, man, I don't know, like eating geese. I'm not really that concerned with killing them. I found the most fire goose pastrami recipe. I was actually from the Meat Eater YouTube, which I give credit where it's due. I'm not going to sit there and pretend that, you know, I made up some recipe. Yeah, it was from the Meat Eater YouTube. I actually found this goose pastrami recipe. I expected it to be livery, and you know, goose is gamey. If you don't,
it's really dark meat.
If you don't brine it, like goose is really goosey.
Yeah.
And I expected it to be similar to that. There was none of that. It was just like seasoned, smoked. I mean, it's more similar to beef.
Yeah. They say
so good.
They say you can make the goose taste just like an elk.
Really?
Yeah. It was
maybe that's what.
It was Rogers. It was Rogers Sporting Goods podcast. They're talking about that.
Do they say like?
I can't remember what seasoning. I don't know. It's all about seasoning.
Sure.
But like Zach brought some pastrami on one of the duck hunts we went on. It was amazing.
Did you have it?
Yeah, you gave me.
Oh, that's right.
Slices.
No, it was at the end of our last one. Yeah,
it was the end of the last one.
Yep. End of the last one of the season. That's right.
Yep.
Did. I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah. I got a goose we still need to make.
I know. And we'll
get to it.
We'll do that up.
Maybe we can do a video. We should do a video on that.
We should.
And then you guys can see how Zach makes his amazing goose pastrami.
It's not my recipe, but I do make it taste good using this recipe.
Using the recipe that Zach found.
Yes. So. Yep. I don't want to get sued or I don't know. Just be that guy that pretends he finds things and
no, we don't want to be doing that. So
right. But it is good, and we can definitely do some goose pastrami.
Yeah. I think the cool part with this podcast is not only can you hear this and listen to what we got going on, and we're going to be sharing a bunch of stories and stuff, but like we were saying, check out our YouTube channels. Zach's is the Deeply Driven Outdoors, and mine's Chasing Iowa Outdoors. And anything that we talk about, besides the couple of times that we did not film this year, we can both attest to. I mean, I had like one or two hunts I think that I didn't post that I filmed just because I didn't shoot anything, and I had a couple that I posted that we didn't shoot much. But I try to post almost every single hunt that we go on.
And I do the same thing too on Deeply Driven Outdoors. It's even if the hunts are not good, I still post them. Some of it's for my own reference, but some of it's just it's a representative of your working man's experience out in the field, so to speak. We hunt public land. You know, you don't always win. You miss ducks. You have days where you get skunked, but there's other things to hunting that I enjoy, and I hope to kind of capture those to the channel too. So I post every hunt, whether they're including a lot of kill shots or not. Towards the end of the season, I did run into technical difficulties. I did not have a computer that was functioning properly. I was running out of memory card space, whole 9 yards. Big domino effect. I've gotten those situated now, fortunately, but yeah, everything's on the YouTube, which really is where you should definitely go and follow the action. Like if you got a spare minute, you know, it's Deeply Driven Outdoors on YouTube, and then Chasing Iowa Outdoors. As you can kind of see what we're talking about, get a little bit more context for the podcast. For the podcast too, there's a lot of fun stuff we got coming up. We're gonna dive into some of the things we enjoy doing a little bit deeper. I mean, we hardly even scratched the surface on fishing, but it's January now.
Yeah,
fishing is a little bit far from the mind, but I love fishing. I do a lot of river fishing for catfish and diddy pole type stuff. I'm gonna get Colton out doing that.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. I love walleye fishing. I like pan fishing. I like micro fishing. All kinds of stuff. So we're gonna do quite a bit of fishing. We're gonna dive into the topics more in depth. You know, we're both big into waterfowl hunting. That's really how the reason for getting
that's how we know each other. Absolutely.
Right. You know, deer hunting, whole 9 yards, and our hunting trips as well. So, you know, we got a lot of good stuff coming up.
Yeah. So we're excited about the podcast. I think we've got some really awesome stuff to cover. And like Zach was talking about down the road. I know we kind of ended up focusing more on waterfowl for today. That's just we just got wrapped up with our season here in Iowa. Goose season for South Zone just ended on Saturday, and it is Wednesday right now as we're doing this. So I guess, do you have anything else you want to add for tonight? We're coming up on 55 minutes of recording time.
Wow. No, I don't think so. First time doing a podcast. Not too bad. I'm looking forward to doing a lot more. Like I just want to get into like so many of these subjects that we love so much about the outdoors and just start diving in.
There's a lot of conversations that we can have.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It'll be good. Well, cool. Well, let's call that a wrap then. Cool. All right. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in to HF&O podcast for tonight, and we will talk to you guys here soon.
Indeed. Take it easy.